proposing 1 millimeter or more. And with Titan, you also have the chance to show the table with the occlusal context, in which basically it will let you know if the occlusal contacts are too light, or if they are ideal, or if they are too heavy. So basically the white ones, the white color is the one that is ideal. The green ones are would mean that
No,
they're
sorry.
the white color is the one that is ideal.
Did you open the YouTube at the same time?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm hearing like an echo right now. Uh-huh. I'm hearing like an echo right now.
Yeah, because the YouTube video.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay, so put note in the, yeah.
I'm hearing like an echo right now.
Yeah, because the YouTube video.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Okay, so put note in the, yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Close the YouTube in your side, Laura, please.
On Zoom? Let me see. But I do not have the YouTube opened over here. It says, how can I do that? I don't have the option over here.
No, just close the window of YouTube. Close totally the YouTube in your side.
How can I do that? I don't know, but I don't have the YouTube opened here.
Just close the window of YouTube. Close totally the YouTube in your side.
How can we do that? I don't know, but I don't have the YouTube opened here.
Just close the window of YouTube. Close totally the YouTube in your side.
How can we do that? I don't know, but I don't have the YouTube opened here.
Just close the window of YouTube.
Oh, what? Now? Is it working now? Oh, what? Can you hear me well now? Now? Is it working now? Oh, what? Can you hear me well now? Can the rest of the doctors hear me well? Are you hearing me well, or do you hear an echo as well? Let me see. Let me change the microphone configuration. Can you hear me better now?
Laura, yes, it's much better now. I configured YouTube here. Do you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect. It's much better now.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Now, let me go back over here. I was explaining the occlusal context, in which basically the software will let you know if they're too light, if they are ideal, or if they're too heavy. And it could also fix you those problems. So if you click right here on problems, the software will show you in yellow what teeth have an incorrect occlusal contact. And you could tell the software, for example, to fix those collisions, which would be equivalent to heavy contacts, or if you want the software to automatically fix posterior separation, which would be teeth that do not have contact. So for example, if I click here, the software is going to extrude them and take them into contact. Okay, so this would be the occlusal tool. We also have the options to turn the roots on or off. You could also open the patient photos to compare it, with the dental scan. You have the grid right here to compare, for example, to make a smile arc. And you have the overview, which will give you the summary of the treatment plan with the IPR information, the attachments and auxiliaries, and if you want to, add any note. And you could also export this information into a PDF by clicking over here. And right here on analysis, you will also find the measurements that I told you before. And the other toolbar that you are going to find is the timeline, which is right here beneath, in which you are going to see the number of aligners depending on the movements that you have applied. Now with Titan, you have also the chance to choose how do you want to make a treatment planning. So you could make a treatment planning in a basic mode, which basically would be like automatic movements. But you could also have the chance to make an advanced treatment plan with staging. I know you could modify teeth movements. So basically, if I unlock this over here, I could start modifying the teeth movements. Let me just make a quick alignment over here to show you how it would look. Give me one sec because it's not showing me the arrows. I will exit and enter again. Okay. Okay, now they're showing up. So I'll do a quick alignment just to show you, for example. Okay, so the arrows that you see over here are to add linear movements, which would be buccolingual, mesial distal, or intrusion or extrusion. And you could make a tooth movement either by dragging the bar or by clicking on the arrows. And you could also add movements right here on the left side using the movement table. The dots are for angular movement. So for example, if you want to add a root tip, from the occlusal view, you would add rotation by dragging the dots. And basically, this is how you would do the teeth movements. Right here, let me then align some teeth a little fast for you to see something about. See, so for example, correcting a rotation, you would just drag the dot over here. And before I proceed with the treatment planning, I want to explain to you what these color of the numbers mean. Basically, the blue color means there's a space between two surfaces. The red color means that you have a collision or a superposition between two surfaces. And you will also find this orange number, which means that you are not ending up the treatment plan with a collision or IPR, but that you do have a mid-trimming collision, and the software will automatically indicate you at what stage it's showing up. So in this case, I have a mid-trimming collision of 0.1 at stage 1. Now you could remove the collision automatically by clicking right here on Fix Mid Collisions, or you could create a keyframe and manually remove it, which I can show you further. But you could also remove it using the Verify tool. So the Verify tool is a tool in which Titan is going to analyze some, some aspects to consider before you finish the treatment planning, the complete treatment planning. So for example, it will analyze if you have mid-treatment collisions, if the vertical alignment is well, it will make sure that you do not have crowding spaces, the occlusal contacts, and basically you could tell the software to indicate you those problems. And you could also tell the software to fix those problems. So you could click right here, for example, if you want to automatically remove the midterm and collisions as well. And the software will automatically add movements to remove those midterm and collisions. Okay, right here, you could click, as I told you, click here on fix mid collisions or use the verify tool. And you also have the option to modify the spacings or the collisions by clicking on the X. So for example, if I want to get rid of a collision, I could just click on the X. Or if I want to close the space, I could do it. I can even reduce or increase a collision or reduce it. So I will get rid of all of these in a faster way. And then I could automatically remove the mid collision by clicking here. And right here, the software is going to add me some automatic movements to remove them. So remember that I told you that you could make a treatment planning in a basic mode, which movements are going to be automatic, but you could also do an advanced treatment planning. So in that case, you would have to unlock over here. And right now, the teeth are going to be synchronized between each other, but you are going to be able to modify teeth movements. Now, if you want to modify each tooth movement individually, then you would have to click right here on this option beneath. When you click here and you see like this single tooth, the software is going to allow you to modify each tooth movement individually. So for example, this is great for when you want to make sequential distalizations in which you would just drag, the bars and indicate the software when to start or finish a move. Right here, you have a blue color and a light blue color. So what does each color mean? Basically, the dark blue color means that you are at the ideal velocity or at the velocity that you have set on the software. Light blue means that you're below that ideal velocity. And you could also see, for example, a red color, which means that that movements are too fast or are faster than the velocity that you have set on the software. So to modify a velocity on Titan, you could click right here on tools, then go to limits. And this is the default velocity that Titan has, which would be 0.2 millimeters for linear movements and 1.5 degrees for angular movements such as torque, tipping, or rotations. However, you could create your own protocol by clicking here on new and modifying these velocities. And you could also do it, for example, for each one of the teeth. Now let me leave it right here on default. Okay. You will also find right here on these bars, for example, if you see a red number between two teeth, it means that you have a collision like this 0.1 that's showing up over here. So basically this would mean that you have a collision between these two teeth. Now, as I told you, you could also make an advanced treatment plan by adding keyframes and adjusting the staging. And to create a keyframe, it's very simple. You would just have to go to the aligner in which you want to create it. Let's say number 9. Select the teeth for which you want to add that keyframe. In this case, I will select canine from canine and click on this black diamond. Right here, the software is going to ask you if you want a simple key with just simply create, like the keyframe in which you could add, for example, a buckle movement. I will delete it over here. But you also have the option to make different types of keyframes. So for example, you could add an empty movement. You could split movements, which will allow you to choose the movements you want to be done before and after that keyframe that you're creating. You could separate movements. So these are new protocols that the software has for staging. You know, if you maybe like to apply a butterfly protocol or a caterpillar protocol, you could do it this way over here. However, I am not going to get into too much details over here. I think we could see it in another webinar. We also have some videos, some webinars in our YouTube channel showing cases specifically with this type of protocol, staging protocol. Okay. Okay. So let's say that I'm done with my trimming plan right now. Then I will proceed with the next step, which would be the attachments or auxiliaries placement. So right here on the left side, you will find all the auxiliaries. You will find the attachments, the buttons. However, these are not exported in the STL files, just this one over here that I will show you later how to use it. You have byte ramps, you have twin blocks, pontics, precision cuts, and blockouts. I will show each one of these for you. But basically, for all of them, you could either modify the size by dragging these bars over here, and also the position. Now, if you notice, Titan will show you, Titan has this AI integrated that will show you the force vectors that you're applying depending on the teeth movements. So that's why if you like place or move the attachment, it will change the position because it will suggest you certain position based on the force of the movement that you're applying. However, as I told you, you could just modify it. I mean, you could rotate it or just do it however you would prefer. Now, Titan also, which is a new tool that we have, is going to color you the teeth depending on the auxiliaries that the teeth may need to achieve the correct teeth movement. So for example, right here, you will see like the color, what each color means. So for example, right here, it's suggesting me to add a bite ramp because the patient has a deep bite. This orange tooth is indicating me to add an attachment because I have a rotation and so on. You could also click right here on explain and the software will automatically show you why it's suggesting you those auxiliaries. Now you could also automatically place them by clicking right here on automatic placement, but you could also modify those rules. So if you click here, you are going to be able to modify those rules that the software is taking into consideration to suggest you certain auxiliary placement. So for example, if you have a parallel force to the surface, add attachments, if you have an extrusion, if you would like also the software to place precision cuts or elastics or bite ramps. So you could play with this information to let the software know like the details of the auxiliaries that you want to the software to consider when placing them. And you could also choose what attachments and auxiliaries you would like the software to automatically place in the trim and planning. So just as an example, let me click right here on automatic placement, clean and generate, and it will even put me the precision cuts for class 2 elastics. Right here, you also have some attachment protocols. So we have these protocols that are default from the software, but you could also create your own protocol attachment protocol. So if you have maybe your deep bite protocol, you could place the attachments and click on create preset, and the software will automatically create it for you. You could click right here on this pencil and modify the name as well. Now, let me show you all of the auxiliaries that we have in this moment. Let me clear all of them. turn off these colors. So, okay, so the attachment, I already showed them to you. The buttons, you could place them as well. However, please note that these buttons are not going to be exported in the STL files, but it may serve like a visual guide, maybe for the patient. You could also see the distance between one tooth and another. The only button that is going to be exported is this one over here, which is the hybrid button. Now, how does this button work? Basically, if you notice, it has like a wide surface over here, which is going to be an attachment. So the template will come just with this shape, and you would place it in the teeth and create a normal attachment. But from aligners 1 and on, the models are going to have this complete shape. So basically the aligners are going to end up like with this bubble on top, in which you could create a cut over here, for example, a vertical cut. And let's say I will place it over here. And then you could use elastics directly attached to the attachment. Okay, let me remove it. For all the auxiliaries, you could also select the number of stages in which you want them to show up. Right here, you also have the chance to place bite frames. You could place them either on anteriors or on posteriors. This tunnel attachment is currently not working because we are updating it. We will have an option for indirect bonding. We also have twin blocks for mandibular advancements, and you could modify as well the position and the size. So for the bite blocks, you will see right here on this menu that you have the jaw. So basically right here on the jaw, you could simulate a mandibular movement. So you could add sagittal, vertical, horizontal, or rotational movement right here. Okay. And you will also find the information about the size of the bite trams. So right here, sorry, of the twin blocks. So right here, you could also modify it, just, increasing or decreasing the size. Well, it will depend most of all on your preference. And you could also modify the number of aligners in which you want them to show up. Let me remove these. We also have the pontics. So for maybe missing teeth, or also for teeth that are erupting, you could place them. You could select the anatomy. So you could select, for example, if it's a molar, but you do not have enough space, then you could select a premolar anatomy. You could also select the bubble anatomy, which is like the default shape. And you could modify also the size. Over here, the height, if you wanted a little bit more, or increase the width, the thickness as well, and the number of aligners as well. Okay. You also will find over here the precision cuts. So these precision cuts are going to be exported in the STL files. So basically they would have like a cut, like a guide for you to know where to make the cut. And right here, you have all these types of precision cuts. Now, this is a new one that we just introduced, which is very useful, for example, if you want to make a bonding and maybe you want to have like a template that is going to guide you. So you could place each one of these on all teeth and then make the cut and, place the brackets directly. And we also have the blockouts. So for example, on those cases that the patient has a fixed lingual retainer and you do not want to move those teeth, you could place them, the blockouts, to reduce retention. So I'm assuming that the patient has a fixed retainer right here from 3 to 3. And right here, you are going to indicate the software in which teeth you want to add the block out. Okay. You could also modify the size and the position as I showed you by dragging this dot over here. Now, this tool is also used by the doctors, for example, when you have a space or something that you would like to block out. So maybe you could click it and, for these type of spaces, you could organize it to reduce retention when you make the align. Over here. Okay. So those are the auxiliaries that Titan has, which are it has a big library and they are very useful. I don't know if you have any question until here, or if you would like to proceed with the next step. Okay, I think we are ready to continue. Oh, something also very important is that you could modify the split, the spline. So for example, if you want to modify the shape or something, you could also do that. So once you've placed the auxiliaries, then you are going to click on ready. And basically this is just the last step for the treatment plan. You could add overcorrection by activating this option. You could click on edit and select the number of aligners for which you want to add overcorrection. You could also modify the amount of overcorrection that you want to apply. But please notice that these overcorrections over here is going to apply on all the movements that you've made, okay? You also have the option to type spaces and type the arch, for example, on spacing cases. Right here, you can add tags to the models. My suggestion is for you to always click on manual labeling, except if you're sending it to a lab for manufacturing. So in this case, I will click on manual and I will click the green dot, let it go, and then drag it. And right here, you could modify the information that's going to show up. So for example, you could click right here on the pencil and select the information in which you want the labels to have. So maybe you do not want the first and last name, but just the last name plus the number of aligner. And you could play like with these options over here. You also have the options to increase or decrease the size. And let me add right here the lower label. And you could also label teeth. So you would do the same, click on the tooth, drag it, and extend it. And right here, you could also choose the information. So for example, if you just want the number of aligner, then just choose this option and click on select. Okay, go back. And for those cases in which maybe you have an automatic trimmer, or if you're exporting to direct printing, such as loose creo or graphic, then you can modify the trim line or the cutting line by clicking over here. Right here, you could automatically adjust it by dragging the bars over here, the height, for example. But you could also modify each point directly. And the same for the mandible. Let me go back. And once you're done with all of these steps, you are ready to export the files. Now, if, for example, you want to send the case to be printed to an external lab, then you would have to click right here on printing order. Right here, you would choose the printing lab. So for example, you could select Titan Lab or other labs that are going to be linked to Titan, and how many aligners you want to be delivered. So you could choose, for example, the deliveries in different dates, or you could order them all at once. So I would drag this over here. You could select the cleaning of the model, which means that if maybe you have um, a hole on the model or something, you could select this option, slow, and the software will make you a cleaning of the models. And right here, you would select the number of aligners that you wish to print. Then click on next. Right here, you will find the summary of the order that you're sending to that lab. So right here, you will see the number of aligners, if it has a template, the date, and the number of copies, and the number of aligners. Right here, you could also add a set of retainers, for example, and click on submit. So remember that this step that I'm explaining is for you to send the case to print it on another lab, okay? But if, for example, you want to print it yourself in your office, then you would have to click right here on STL files, and then click on export STL. Right here, you will select if you want to export a normal STL, if you want to export it for loose Creo or for graphic. You are going to choose the folder in which you want the files to be saved, the orientation of the files. If you want sub-steps per liner, the cleaning that I just explained to you. Right here on the right side, you will find the number of aligners that you want to export, and click right here on export. And right here is when the payment is going to be generated. So right now you are going to, with the new version that we are updating, you will have the option to just pay per STL. But once you reach the top limit, which would be between $45 and $50, the case will become automatically unlimited. So in this case, the maximum amount that you're going to pay is going to vary from 45 to 50, depending on the category that you're in. In this case, it would have a cost of 51.50, and then I will just click right here on pay, and the files are going to be exported. Okay, let me show you how to modify something over here. Okay, so before I show you the STL files, I want also to explain to you that this hollow option is yet not available, but it will be very soon. You have the option also to trim the excess gum, you could also increase the base size, the trim line, if you want it baked. Now, baked means that the files are going to be exported with this trim line as a reference to make the cut, okay? And the trim guide for automatic trimmers. So if, for example, you have one of these trimmers, you could select the base. And the software will apply it to the scans. If you have maybe another trimmer and it has another base, you could send us the STL file and we could add it over here for you to have it and apply it to your models. And those were the last options that I wanted to explain to you. Now, let me open these files over here, the STL files, just to show you how the precision cuts would look like. So right here, I have the STL files, and see how the button cut, for example, is going to show up. Well, this is basically like for you to have a reference on where to make the cut. Okay. So this was all for trim and planning. I don't know if you have any other question. Dr. Ignacio, would you like maybe to add something up? Okay. Let me show you how can you share a treatment plan. So if you click right here on these three dots, you will see the option to share the treatment plan. So you could click right here and share. And you could select, for example, if you want to share it on a doctor mode, which will allow the doctor to, for example, modify the treatment plan and request modifications. So you could share this link over here, just copy it and send it to the other doctor. Or you could share it with the patient. The difference basically between both is that the patient is not going to have access to modify the teeth movements. Okay, so let me click right here and share, copy, and open it over here for you to see the differences between both links. So right here, this is the doctor's link. Basically, he will have access to modify the treatment plan over here. And this would be the patient's link, which would be, just for the patient to see the treatment planning. Show you over here. And would have like the different views, and that would be it. Okay. Now let me go back over here. And I don't know if you would like to review any other specific topic or if you have any question. No? If you maybe want to write down on the chat if you have any question, I will write you over here the email just in case when you're working on the software, if you have any question, you can write us or at sign.com. Or if you need, for example, immediate assistance, you can call this number. 949-396-1818. And well, welcome to Titan. Please test the software and let us know if you have any question or just, if you would like to review any other topic. So thank you very much once again for your time. And thank you. Let's see. Okay. Dr. Ignacio, I don't know if you would like to add something.
Well, nobody asked here. Everybody's saying compliments for you. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Then I think we can close the meeting already. Thank you very much again for your time.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Have a great day. Thanks to
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.